It's not true. You can sew jersey at home. I'll show you the 2 things you must have and the 5 things you must do to master sewing jersey with your home sewing machine. And you don't need fancy cover stitch machines, overlockers or sergers. Master sewing jersey with your home sewing machine. Let's go. There are 2 things you must have. They are inexpensive and readily available. Let's have a look at the first. These are called jersey needles, or you might know them as ballpoint needles. Jersey or ballpoint needles have the ball point. That's the point of them. It's a rounded tip at the bottom. What this does is pushes the fibers of the jersey aside as it passes through. This prevents the needle from snapping the jersey and those fibers that are holding the fabric together, which means that you don't get popped seams or snag stitches. Sharp needles tear straight through, and it does end up with snag seams. Not good. So change out your needle. Just like with your universal needles, there are different weights in jersey or ballpoint needles. The thinner your fabric, the lower you go. So for a regular jersey like this, or like the one I'm wearing now, you'd go for about a 70 or an 80. Just like any other fabric, as you get thicker and more intense fabric, you use a thicker needle. So use the lower end for this regular stuff, just like you would with woven fabrics. The second thing you need, and this should be in your home. If not, it's down in the shops. It's called baking paper. I think in the United States you call it parchment or something like that. We call it baking paper here in the UK and in Australia where I'm from. So it's sort of waxed paper that you use when you're cooking cookies and lovely things like that. Tear off a bit of baking paper and we put this into the sewing as we sew. Sewing machines have a tendency to eat your jersey sewing projects. It is not fun and it jams up your machine. They all get eaten up in this little hole here in the plate and it gets stuffed in there, it jams, everything goes wrong and you have to start again. Not good. The reason this happens is because of the stretch of the fabric. So it's just the fact that as the fabric is getting pulled by the dogs, it stretches more than woven fabric, and this hole in the plate takes that in as it gets pushed by the needle. You line up a bit of baking paper with the edge of your seam or the start of your seam. That stabilizes the seam as you're sewing it and gives a flat bed for the needle to pass through and your fabric to pass across. I use it along the edges, or say with a 1 centimeter, ½ seam allowance. It's great because that edge can fall into the machine, so this just holds it up as you go along. It's also great at the start of a seam, anywhere where you've got the edge close to the needle, so within 1 centimeter of the needle, you're going to need to have something there to hold up the other part of it so it doesn't fall in. So if you're starting on a small edge, or if you're at a corner, it's really good for that. If you need to turn at a right angle, which we do on this pattern for the t-shirt, we turn here, right at the underarm. As we come up and under, we do a 90-degree turn. That is hard to do with jersey because everything is liquid. It's all moving about. If you put a tiny little square, you tear off a little piece like that, and just as you're getting to the part where you're going to need to turn a 90-degree, stick this underneath, do a couple of stitches, and then turn, and then you're turning on this. This is holding up the entire angle as you turn around. Really great. It just perforates off. You've got another strip, you put that underneath. You don't actually use that much of it, and you don't need to lay it all the way out. You're just using this to hold up the edge of the fabric when your needle is getting a bit too close to the edge. They're the 2 items you need to make sewing jersey and knit fabrics far simpler on your home sewing machine. Talking of the machine, let's have a look at the settings. You don't use straight stitches on your jersey fabric. These end up with popped seams, so all the stitches pop out as soon as the fabric starts to stretch. What you need is something that can move with the stretch of the fabric. That's on nearly every machine. If you have it, use a lightning stitch, like a zigzag, but slightly angled a bit, and it goes like that. Because this stitch goes across the fabric like that, it means that it can stretch ever so slightly with the fabric as the fabric naturally stretches. So your jersey will stretch and so will your stitch, but not too much, which is really good. And you only need this on a very narrow gauge, so the width of the zigzag in your lightning stitch. The great thing about that is once you've sewn it, it shows up as a straight stitch on all your seams at the end and looks no different from a regular straight stitch on woven fabric. If you don't have the lightning stitch, nearly every machine has a plain zigzag. Just like that. All you need to do again is keep the zigzag narrow and you've got yourself a nice stitch that will stretch with your jersey. Next, you just need to consider one little thing about your stitch length. My machine is always set to 2.5. I set it to about 3. Just that little bit extra. Again, we're dealing with stretch. So it's got a slightly longer stitch so it has more room to stretch in and out. So you've got needles in your machine. Your baking paper is sat ready to go. You've chosen your stitch. You've put your stitch length. Everything is ready. Let's talk about the actual fabric. We move away from the machine and talk about how we handle jersey. This is a really important part. Jersey has a natural stretch in it, like all knit fabrics, so we need to treat it differently to woven fabric. What we're dealing with is handling of the fabric. Do not let jersey hang off the table. Everything needs to be on the table or the ironing board. And by everything I mean all the fabric that you're using in your project. So if you're cutting on your table, anything that would usually hang off the side, you roll up nice and neatly, plonk it on the table and on every side. So you're just not letting it go off the edges of the table, because when it does that, it starts to stretch itself. And it will be hard to get all of that back out of stretch. What we do is we compartmentalize working with jersey. You're placing one pattern piece maybe at a time instead of laying it all out at once. So you can manage all the edges of the jersey as it tries to fall off the side of the table. This will really help. It means that your fabric won't warp. And just in that same vein, here is that green sage fabric that I cut earlier. You'll notice that it is all rolled up like this. So when I pick it up, it doesn't hang or stretch, preventing the dreaded jersey droop. You're handling your fabric beautifully, treating it with all the care in the world. Once you get to the iron, you still do the same. Again, we're treating this jersey with the utmost care. What you do with knits is, as you press, you pat press. Press an area, move to the next one. What you don't want to be doing is drawing your iron across large swathes of your fabric, because that's going to do exactly what the fabric hanging off the table will do. So you're just going to stretch it out. That is a problem. Again, it just means that you'll end up with warped pattern pieces, warped seams, and then a twisted garment at the end. Great thing about jersey is if little parts do stretch out, say you've got your neckline up here, you've sewn on the neck, and once you have a look at it, it looks all wavy. If it's just a little bit wavy like that, usually you can fix it with your iron. Hit it with heat and steam, pat it down, then bring your iron off and let everything cool down before you move it. Everything will shrink back in to where it was supposed to be, getting back into that natural knit. Then if you let it completely cool down, the fibers will set and they'll be back to this beautiful flat state like that. Especially when you're on natural fibers like a cotton, something like this. Using the heat means that you actually activate the fibers, and it means that they become more pliable, more fluid. So letting them cool all the way back down means that you're setting them in whatever state you've put them in. So that's a real great tip with jersey, is to, when you press, you then step back, go and do something else, or wave it just with a piece of paper. I often do that. If I have something with me, let it cool down so it goes into that state and sets there. So we've treated our jersey beautifully. We've pressed it very carefully just by patting it along. So you end up with a beautiful little bundle just like this. The key when cutting jersey fabric, just like when we're handling it, and I talked about it with the handling and preventing the jersey droop. It's just that you don't want to lift things off the table. So when you're cutting your fabric, the lower part of your scissors are always touching the table and cutting like that. We're not pulling it up and cutting around like this. You are using the table and it's only raising up to go across the blade and be cut. That again is just to prevent the droop. That's all we're doing. We don't want to stretch out our jersey as we're cutting it. If you hold it up and cut around it, all of that area is going to stretch even in that short time. So we're keeping everything flat and cutting around the fabric like that. If you have a rotary cutter, more the better. They're fantastic because nothing gets lifted. You just literally pizza cut all the way around your pattern piece. When it comes to the pattern piece as well, using chalk isn't always great because chalk stretches your fabric because you need to use a lot of pressure to get the chalk into your fabric. One thing I do is I often just cut directly around the pattern piece. I put weights down and cut around it straight away. I don't trace or do anything like that. If you can't do that and you want to trace it all before you cut it all, then get yourself a disappearing ink pen. They're in every fabric shop, you can get them, and you can use that and it'll either be washed out by water or it'll be washed out by heat when you use the iron, depending on the pen you buy, but that will be able to mark your pattern. For me, I like to put down a pattern piece, cut around it, then move on to the next pattern piece. That might work for you. If not, you've got the disappearing ink pens. They'll help you mark out your pattern a lot better. There are more things you can do to make sewing with jersey easier. You can get a walking foot. You can do all kinds of things, get rotary cutters. But I'm telling you what you can do now, and all you have to buy is baking paper and some needles. That's the most basic way of sewing with jersey and sewing with knits. And it will help you as you go along on your journey. In the next video, I'm going to put all of this into practice and show you a few seams with the jersey. I'll show you how it doesn't work, but then how it does work. Stick around for that, and soon you'll be making your own beautiful t-shirts. You can click that video right here and we'll have a look at how the seams work and how to finish your seams with a jersey fabric. I'm Alex and I love to sew. If you love to sew, then follow along for more tips just like this.